once excitedly showed my Ohio daddy a door, okay, and that door was a lot like this. There's nothing on it. And I was being completely honest with what's in my heart. However, I don't have the answers. I don't know the knowledge of how in the world this is going to work out. But I don't know out of all of my witnessing else to say. I said, it would be nice if this, when I opened it up, could kind of be like the hotel rooms that I stayed in, because I understood that it would be a very slow process for me because I was extremely depressed. I was not yet aware that somebody had technology on my brain which causes a great state of oppression, which causes things like tiresome, okay, symptoms of depression, anxieties, all of the list of what's on the United States government Social Security list as being psychological disorder. It's all inflicted upon us, and then it's said that we have our own problem, a psychological disorder. It's not a disorder, it's an attack. With that being said, see how God is good? We worked it out a different way. And I have a bathroom in the studio. And because of some Chinese man or Japanese man or someone else probably from another country where they're actually motivated and driven to do things outside of just sitting around and drinking and eating and having sex, okay, watching TV. The truth of the matter is somebody was designing a computer software program that now you could plug in even the cheapest Chinese instruments and you could make glorious music that is honorable to the name above. In my eyes, everyone except for Jesus Christ and God the Father. And the Holy Spirit, in which I could never be. Thank you, Apostle Paul, for inspiring me very much. The things I don't want to do is my sinful nature. I want to honor God with my life, and I want to be more consumed with the spirit of life than I do of the sinful nature. May nothing that would weigh me down, period, ever enter inside of me. And if it does, may what's inside of me that is for life be more powerful in protecting than even through worldly psychologists diagnosed as child mentality. Okay? Here's the thing. This is what I have to say. I don't know what the person's thoughts would be on this. If money mattered to me at any given time as much as it seems to in many lives of many people, then I'd be kicking myself in the ass. Can you do it? Can you kick yourself in the ass? How do you do that? Have you ever tried to kick yourself in the ass? Somebody asked me that once already. Do you ever feel like you're kicking yourself in the ass? Try it. Try to kick yourself in the ass and see what it feels like. Because at times many people are kicking themselves in the ass and they have no idea. Because if money mattered at any point to anybody, there should not be a dominancy of what drives a person, in my opinion, but I understand if it is for sure. The monetary value of this album, when it's put together with that intent, this album, as even it is in its entirety, this album, and this album is of the same as this one. God let me know that's of what is recognized as you never run out of work in doing something like this. You serve. Many people are dependent on another man, and you could prove in any courtroom that that's not good, or a company. You shouldn't be dependent. And they're twisted, and they'll say, well, you should be dependent on God, not a company, not other people, and that's all bullshit. Many people have been given the bullshit lines through corporate America, 401k plan, life insurance, all kinds of these things to invest in your money and stuff. And the truth of the matter is, God has shown me that at any given time that I didn't bow down to that specifically does not mean that I was irresponsible. When you hear a story like I heard today, despite the fact that it was not happening to you, you still want to go into DC and you want to grab the old son of a bitch that put the pressure through their passing of whatever literature that says to a man through insurance companies, you are too old to have life insurance, so the policy expires, so to speak. I don't know the exact details. Then the truth of the matter is, that politician should be kicked so damn hard that they fall over into their own grave. Psychology, health, very important. This is my door, Daddy. My Ohio daddy had let me know, no. That room could not be turned into a bedroom/studio. To me, I didn't know what else to do out of the property that was there as far as to mention, except for maybe a small studio out in the shed. And now, though not through another person's judgment, but my own, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hard for me to do this way. And it's 4.5. I did a video a while back, and I took that photo shoot by a fireplace to the song I wrote called Living the Life, which was inspired by my journey going from Huber Heights, Ohio to Nashville, Tennessee. I've learned that I was kind of like a crybaby at Huber Heights, and that was something that I think I had a hard time doing for a season of time in my life, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to now be able to cry easily. I don't want to be a crybaby, but I think it's really nice that I'm okay with myself, and quite frankly, I think I am more attractive to myself or to something because of it, meaning because I'm okay to cry. If some people heard what is said in this studio while I'm recording, they would not like me very much. It's not about me being opened. I think sometimes something else is kind of speaking through me and shouting out a lot of stuff as the struggle is occurring to record some of these songs and get out of what's in the head through servanthood to the instruments to capture the recording of what's going on in the mind. I think sometimes it's filled with the most hilarious moments in my life. I never laughed as much as I do. I realize that the world today is a much scarier place for a whole lot of obvious reasons that maybe were not acknowledged before. Clarity has entered into my brain in a way that says, I'm trying to live my life while others are treading over me. I would like to lay them flat on the ground, but instead I smile and agree. I wanted to express that during my time of seeking, I was in prayer, whether it be mentally or verbally, in meditation, in hopes that something would work out. And I remember I looked up one ads, and I was looking for anything from being, at that time, not today, a personal live-in assistant. I was looking for opportunities that I could kind of do some side jobs away from entertainment, that is, side jobs. I thought of all kinds of things were circulating through my brain. What could I do for work? And there was different places on like Google or Yahoo, whatever I was using at the time. I use Google now, but at the time I don't know if it was Yahoo or not. I was going through and searching for jobs there, and I ended up making a list, a Word document of like 30, 40 places that I called these places or sent a resume to, filled out an application. I didn't have time, and it would be great if I'm ever driving by that I could actually do a testimony conversation of filling out an application and having the opportunity to go in and kind of do like a pre-screening And there was a lot of people around a large table. The requirement for the screening part of it was like small little tidbit psychological test of even taking different shapes and putting them into those proper slots, if you will. I think I might have done that once before, like at the unemployment office or something, way back. And it also reminded me of being at my grandmother's home, my grandfather raised, and playing with different toys. And with that being said, I also looked around the table and I was kind of nervous. I definitely realized that I was one of the slower ones that were there. It felt just like when I was in school. In doing stuff like this, when I was filling out applications and going through that process, I realized if people really knew, they would understand, number one, they're dealing with a child, not their idea of an adult. And in my opinion, a child shouldn't be looking for work. If anything, a child should be announcing that they're in need of love, by something. Because evidently, humans aren't too good at it and feel very strongly it's not their responsibility. With that being said, I also realized that I was in tune with my thoughts, and when I walked out the door of this one place, words told me in my head, you're worth more than a place like this. Don't let it get you down. I remember when I was walking out to my car and I sat in it and I looked at the building, I had an overlay of seasons of times in my life. And in those moments, it reminded me of what the world would say being a child. And when I did that with the shapes, I did it because I wanted to, and it was a joy to me to play. I remember thinking that was probably the better of all the jobs when it came to a paycheck. And I wanted more than anything to be able to take care of myself. And I don't know how else to take care of myself except for the way that I have. And I went through life for a lot of years trusting God would take care of me. And that is very challenging in a world that says if you don't have money, you can't be here, or you have no reason to be here, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or I'm calling the cops. Okay, 30 or 40 places, and that was in less than 3.5 months. And the 2 jobs that I ended up getting was working for the cleaning place, cleaning Right Pat and Chase Bank, and then getting Walmart came along a little bit later. And I remember once I got Walmart, I was disappointed I didn't get the one closest to me, and I ended up driving over to York Commons, but I made the best out of it, especially around the holidays. And I was trying to be very, very friendly to people. And I met a lot of very, very friendly people in the process of it, and I have great memories from there. With that being said, that's how I ended up going to Las Vegas. It was because I felt God came to me in a dream and said, why aren't you going to the place I'm asking you to go? Your faith. As I wrap this up, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the details of that. I was hoping I could find a notepad. I did not. In my opinion, I was talking about it a half a year ago, give or take, and I said that this is one of the videos I've been wanting to make. I could have swore that I saw that notepad somewhere on one of my hard drives, and it had a list of every place that I called, or reached out, or forwarded a resume to, and that notepad is no longer foundable at the same place I found my resume. You will find out that when I go up here to Cleveland, that my belief is there is a large group of Satanists that have been trying to cover my existence within the world. I was told a long time ago, if you have a patent idea even, a copyrighted song, there's a good chance, writing of some sort, there's a good chance you are going to be the center of attack by the satanic military, not necessarily in those words. What do you think of that? So I'm living with somebody and I'm trying to explain. Do you know that I was standing right here in my studio when I was talking to the manager of this property, and he told me that at any time, if things really got bad for me financially, or if I know somebody else, all they need is $50. then they can have a place to stay. So while I was working at this job 1 hour a day, though it would have been very challenging, even when I was at Walmart, I could have gotten an apartment adjusted, and I did not know this. They also have food pantries, and I did not know that. A food pantry is a place that you can go, and it's where people have come together, and however they come up with food by donations and etc., by grocery stores or farmers, etc., etc., which I really love the farmers who do that. Thank you, because I love produce. Then the truth of the matter is that a person who is hungry and does not have food accessibility with finances, if you're in a challenge, a struggle, you can go to these places called food pantry, and with their policy, if you meet their requirements, some places every week, some places, say once a month you can go. Some is once a week, some is once a month, some of them you can go often, whenever they're open. Everybody has their own policy. And in my opinion, there's grocery stores all over this country, and as a child of God, if things were made right, in my opinion, then a child of God should be able to go to any grocery store and get the food that they need. I believe that as we are in the world that we are in, we witness. And too many people try to fabricate a positive story or a wow story of what God is doing in their life. And God has laid it on my psychological heart. Be real. Be truthful. Do it in love to the better of your ability. Don't try to fabricate a positive in your head. And you'll learn that people, just like with Jesus Christ, there's people who really do not like the truth, reality, being real, someone being real. They don't like that. Maybe all of us are like that, depending, right, on the subject. But it is most certainly the more helpful, especially if you're not listening as the person is sharing anything that is real, because it might be an illusion to you, the listener. It may be their witnessing, but it doesn't mean it would be your witnessing. And it is very complicated to understand in a world where we might not have really got the matter that we each perceive things differently, very uniquely. Whatever it is, individually, we are meant to learn. That Grandmaster evidently knows a little bit more about that subject. So, anyway, I couldn't find a notepad. I assume the Satanic military who has access to go on to set hard drives, flash drives, any devices whatsoever. They can remove anything they want. They can delete anything they want. They can change time stamps on everything that is on your computer, okay? And beyond. Evidently, these could be more like very bratty big brothers and sisters, not even in Christ. People or other life forms that pretty much dominate humans to be more of whatever it is that they want the humans to be. Some people would call that Edom. I don't think that really matters as much as the story of that's where I was at that time before I ended up becoming a person who is in need of assistance through the United States government, because I didn't know anywhere else to go. And it's kind of bizarre for me, considering when you get into the Word of God and God owns absolutely everything because God created everything, there's a misunderstanding of what belongs to Satan, okay? Nothing belongs to Satan. If you read the Bible, this is Satan's world, psychological world. And in my opinion, if that person wants a donut, they want a glass of wine, they want a banana, they want cake mix, they want almond milk, rice milk, a pizza, fruits and vegetables, apples, oranges, spinach, then a child of God should be able to have it. In my opinion, I have learned you don't want any more than you know that you need, and you want what you need more than what you do not need. You want healthy food, in my opinion, whoever you are, and it's different for everyone. You want the very best. Not that's in the market, God's very best. You want the purest of water. You want the purest of nutrients in your human existence. When people say about what you need, they trickle you down to nothing. God has let me know many times that I would love to talk about this. Why is it that I don't have a new car? A brand new car. Why? Why in this lifetime have I not selected and took custody of a brand new car? God has let me know I should be able to go to any parking lot that sells new cars in the state of Ohio, the country, the world. If I were to go to another country and select a car of my interest, that car should be shipped to my home at my request. That's the kind of person I believe that God has for all people who believe. Now, why isn't it just naturally happen? In my opinion, to be continued. I would say that's when we get into the book of Revelation and we start realizing that the second coming of Jesus is Christhood in a manner that says, we, the people, speak, and something occurs in a manner that says, it's coming. I should have the very best of everything. For somebody to record this music, one of the most painful things that I've ever went through is I understood a nightmare was occurring, which is what I didn't want. I did not want to end up by a dumpster in a roach-infested apartment with cheap Chinese equipment, alone in a one cold, at times roasting hot, not temperature controlled, monitored if you would, apartment, while I sit on my ass on a chair that exterminator man instructed me to throw into the dumpster briefly after a church gave me the chair as a gift. They said I could have any chair I wanted. I steam cleaned it. I disinfected it. And when it dried, I blew it dry, I think, with my hair dryer. And eventually I sat on it. And I said, as much as I hate office work, because I look at studio work as office work, this is the most comfortable chair I have ever had in my life, meaning it for a desk. And then that dude walks into my studio because we have a bed bug problem that's pretty serious. Not now, thank God, please not. And he tells me I have to throw it away because it had bugs on it, not from the church. I figured out the bed bug problem. It was coming when I was washing my linen in the laundry room to this facility, okay, that I live in. It's a shared facility of doing laundry, and I thought it was awesome. You know, wow, you can wash your clothing here in the property. I personally think it would be awesome if the apartments were bigger and we had our own laundry room and we could wash our own clothing in our laundry room. I think a lot of times that people like myself are being shortchanged, jarred into masses of people that might be okay or simply unable to live in a manner that I would rejoice in and have throughout my life, because I come from Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, I always thought it was cool that the lower income, though they had their own problems, they had things like laundry facility. They had things like to-the-door parking, I could back a car up to the door. I could bump the apartment with the bumper on the car. That's how accessible it is for you to go from your home to the car. Things like sheds, okay? I've often said, you know, there was times that I could have went to court. I could have spoken all the time, the money, how I got to make the money, you know. What I've realized is not just about being easier. What's more valuable is you take the lesson you learn and you're okay to speak publicly about it. The enemy hates that very much. I'm glad I'm silly. I'm the hottest recording artist in the world ever. The most valuable in my opinion. If not me, it's what's inside of me, amen. There's nobody like me. I'm glad I'm silly. My whole life I kind of had some wishing that I was more like other people for many reasons. And more every day, I can just say that as crazy as it may seem to others, it was once crazy to me, and now I'm kind of getting comfortable. Think, when I'm doing what's in my brain, it's what's best for everything in existence and beyond. For what I do furthers the kingdom of heaven somehow, even if it's give the child something to do that the child is out of the adult's care. My mom once told me, why don't you just find something to do with yourself? Ride your bike, go to the gym, or exercise or work out, go play guitar, go write a song. Why don't you go play for somebody in the neighborhood? Go visit a friend. Why don't you take a drive somewhere? I'll even give you the money to get out of here. And God was showing me, if you need gas, just fill it up and leave. Somehow God will make it right. Enjoy your life. Do it while you can. So every time I put on a camera and I share my story, I'm not saying things to try to offend anyone. Sometimes I don't even think I am the only one who's talking. Maybe it simply just comes out as it comes out, and it doesn't mean if it's right or wrong or intended. But one of my biggest dilemmas in life was the disconnectivity from the human race. And I realized today, watch my videos, God has shown me you don't want to connect with people as much as you want to connect, number one, with beneficial for life information, whatever that means. I knew I needed help. I knew I needed to do something. I only knew to work. Meanwhile, I was going to NSAI in 2010. I realized that if I'm not going to connect with people in the music and entertainment industry, that somehow what it is that I have to offer can turn into a financial income for all parties involved, then the truth of the matter is I'd rather be focusing on something else. Because I knew at that time, I thought, I need money. And I already diagnosed, in order to have fulfillment, I need millions of dollars. And some people would say, that's a start. You can't put a price tag on what God has, not only for you, but period. Humans would not be able to calculate the numbers that high. I had to come to grips with the fact of understanding that the things I desired, a mate, whether that be a husband or wife, a child, boy, girl, God, I just wanted to be healthy. That's what I said about Brendan. And what happened through words in my head, he's the healthiest child that a baby could be. In other words, he was perfect in my eyes, through my eyes. And I remember when I saw him for the first time, I remembered when I reflected in the living room of where I said that to God as I was looking out my back window on a wooden porch. I said, I know I wanted a girl more than anything, but I'm very grateful that he was born healthy. I'm more grateful, and I wanted more than anything to share my life with him. At that time, I already had a vision of everything I ever wanted to do. And an understanding that I don't want to force myself into his life. I'll have to pay attention and respect his wishes if he doesn't want me present. And because of the occurrence with his mother, I realized that the very best that I could do at that time was say, I hope to see you again soon. Preferably when your mother's not around, so we can talk. So I can share with you my side of the story and life, and I can hear about yours. I was hoping that somehow Brendan would turn out better in many areas than I did, and that he would seek out God and not shun the thought that God is available to have a relationship with him. There was times when I would go to LCBC and I would see a seat available beside me and Lynn, and I would say, God, I would have loved the opportunity to worship with him like this. And when I walked through the church and I would see the children's ministries, I would peek in sometimes and I would think, if I had Brendan with me or a child with me, I think it would be fabulous to have them have an opportunity to be in the presence of others, share their life in praise to God. And God has shown me that God can use anybody, anywhere, at any time. With that being said, I don't want to talk about that too much right now. I told you I would see you again. I told you I would see you again. I think of you every day. With that being said, as I'm going through life, one of the wonderful things I learned about being transgendered, that a lot of the transgender community will say adios to testosterone levels and hello to estrogen. Estradiol, estrogen levels. And I was very grateful to make sure that I will no longer that way produce a child. And God has let me know you'd be surprised what could still happen. So you better be careful. I'm going to be going up to Cleveland, and I'll talk about that another day. And I have, for anybody who may have had concerns for me, no regrets. In my choices, I say, when I'm going to have my balls cut off or taken out, I smile and I laugh and I say, what? No regrets. And I say it with a smile. In other words, the choices I'm making, they're for the best. Period. For me and for others. I don't like a world that doesn't have its shit together in a manner that people can share in life with the people they wanted to love. The United States government, in my opinion, are you happy that I'm here crying right now instead of laughing and being with people I wanted to love? I don't like the United States government. Your laws fucking suck. Your way of life fucking sucks. Your domination into beautiful life sucks. Ta-da! I am back. Okay, so check this out. I am here in my studio, my bedroom now, my studio apartment. And I made my wall of photographs. And I don't know if I showed this before in a video, but I put the CDs, my third album, my fourth album, 1, 2, 3, fourth, my third album, my second album, my first album, and my 4.5. I call it 4.5 because there's 5 songs on it, and they are kind of like different versions of songs I've already recorded. Do, 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 do. I celebrate. I got a bottle of champagne at Walmart. wanted to have a class. Let me see. I want to share this. I went to the Goodwill. I like to go thrift store shopping sometimes. And I am going to celebrate. I do not believe that alcohol is necessarily what is required to celebrate. I celebrate every time that I do one of my projects. One of them might be going places, going somewhere that means something to me. It might be taking a bike ride. You know, it might be going for a long drive somewhere I wanted to go to see scenery. It might be to go to the lake, to walk around and do shit. It might be a dinner that I make. I've been wanting to do that. So I did 3 albums recently, 2.5 for Ragtop, Could Have It All. I got the bottle of champagne, and for Magical Bride, I'm thinking of a dinner and someplace really nice. I think that would be fun. Or I'm gonna make myself, I don't eat meat a whole lot, but I'm thinking of having like a chicken breast, like half a chicken breast or something. And I love veggies, like steamed veggies and stuff, or something else, I'm not sure. But I really want every day of my life to be a celebration. And I remember I used to do shows. My shows were a celebration of life. That was my intent, was to bring joy into an atmosphere. What I've realized is this, in my opinion, should be a way of life for me. And I've recently been out shopping to get clothing. And can I tell you, though it might not appear, I feel a lot more like my inner self. Okay, this is the first time in my whole life I ever lived at one place for this long. I've been here since like Halloween-ish, October. And long story short, I ended up staying here because I decided to work on my music project. Unlike human relationships, these babies will be with you for as long as they are with you, always and forevermore. And I believe that sometimes people jump to conclusions and they might not fully understand, because sometimes music is still going on in your head. If you listen to my songs, Playfully Purple, Dayton, Ohio, USA, the songs I've been working on, then in my opinion, you have a very good idea of what is going on in my head on a regular basis. I am always trying to be thankful. I'm always trying to be mindful of God. And here's the thing, check this out. And I'm still finding it absolutely impossible to live around other people that the only time they're in my presence is to tell me you can't do that here. And no establishment belongs to anybody, it belongs to God. I am marching on for today. I have a few more things to do. I'm on my way. I am a soldier for God, for good, for love, for truth and light. Goodbye. Something just sang that through me. Sounds like it's a major hit song. Goodbye. Peace.